It's Lunchroom Lonnie! Yeah! If you're hungry for some knowledge now, and you want to take a bite, then have no fear, Lunchroom Lonnie's here to make your SWOT analysis alright.
Greetings, employees of ASI. Today I'm here with a very special guest. We're on location to talk a little bit about the SWOT analysis tool. Now, I know all of you are very familiar with the SWOT tool. The problem that we've run into in the past is when students use MarketLine solely to supplement their SWOT analysis. And MarketLine is a fantastic research tool, and we want you to look at research tools and industry databases. The purpose of this video is to try to teach you that doing a copy and paste job on a MarketLine SWOT isn't going to be sufficient. And so we want you to make your own SWOT analysis. You can use the MarketLine SWOT as a base, but you need to add additional ingredients to that. And to demonstrate this, we are going to talk about store-bought mac and cheese versus making your own mac and cheese. And now I'd like to introduce my very special guest who is a friend of UCF. This is Lunchroom Lonnie. Lunchroom Lonnie, would you please come in the picture?
Hello, children! Hello, children! How are you? How are you? So good to see you all out there. Hello, Christopher.
Hello.
Christopher.
Yes.
That seems very casual. Dr. Professor Leo.
Oh.
Dr. Professor Leo.
Thank you.
Professor Leo.
Thank you.
Dr. Professor
Yes.
Leo. Sorry for the Christopher shit.
Yeah.
Sorry for the Christopher thing. Sorry about that.
I appreciate the formality, Lunchroom Lonnie. So you're here today to talk a little bit about the SWOT analysis and more precisely how to make your very own mac and cheese, how to make your SWOT analysis your own.
That's right, that's right. So it occurred to me that mac and cheese is something that just has your name on it. It is you. It exudes you, as should your SWOT analysis. So today what we will be doing is demonstrating how to make our own mac and cheese.
Now I'm going to have Lunchroom Lonnie go back and get those wonderful homemade ingredients so he can make that fantastic homemade homemade mac and cheese. You want to go ahead and get those ingredients, please, Lunchroom Lonnie?
So the first thing we need for mac and cheese is you start with a roux. A roux is any sort of flour and a fat. This reminds me of Porter's Five Forces.
Ah, of course. So Porter's Five Forces, very important tool that looks at the industry, all right? Industry level determines whether or not the industry is attractive. And so we've got butter here and we have flour for a basic roux.
Next, we have whole milk. Whole milk is important because this really makes it a bechamel sauce. Now, you can use any sort of liquid with a roux to make any number of sauces, but milk will make it a bechamel sauce, kind of like a pestle force.
Ah, so your pestle analysis. So you could use water for this, but really is that the most appropriate pestle analysis tool to use? Milk is going to be more applicable in this situation.
And of course we have macaroni because it's mac and cheese. This defines it. Now, the other thing is with a viro analysis, that core competency, that's really what makes it yours. I've chosen to make my mac and cheese with cheddar cheese and American cheese. American cheese. UCF.
Go
Anyway.
America. Yeah. All right.
Yay!
Wonderful.
American cheese. Woo! Isn't that nice, Christmas?
Wow. That's
So cute. Anyway, American cheese.
Yes. American cheese. So your cheeses, your core competency, very important for the VRIO framework. And you could use any cheese, but really this is going to be your secret sauce.
I will say one ingredient that won't be in my mac and cheese is the nasty stuff that came out of this bag.
That looks like poison.
I think so. But it gets us into our next point, which is in order to understand how to do this, we probably should look at other mac and cheeses to understand what they are. And I have to say, Christopher, there's a mac and cheese made with this.
So here we see typical mac and cheese options that you have. So think of these as your market line SWOT analysis tools. They're not bad by themselves, not bad. Not the best thing you've ever had in the world, but the point of this session is really to get you to move beyond the store-bought or basic run-of-the-mill restaurant or basic run-of-the-mill grocery store-bought mac and cheese to make your own mac and cheese and to make it yours. Just like your SWOT analysis should be yours. You can use MarketLine as a base, as a foundation, right, with some common ingredients, but really you've got to make it yours. So we're going to taste test a few of these typical mac and cheese. The first one we have here is the Blue Box Kraft mac and cheese that is every college student's fan favorite. Has probably kept a lot of you alive in the dorms for decades. So let's go ahead and taste this. How would you describe this, Lunchroom Lonnie?
Oh my God! It tastes like hangovers and bad intentions.
Bad decisions and hangovers.
The macaroni is mushy.
Yeah.
Mushy. It's not really toothsome.
It's just, yeah.
Tooth.
Yeah. No,
Toothsome.
al dente, right? Very
Al dente.
very bland. No pepper, no salt.
No.
You know, just tastes like texture. It just tastes like filler food.
You can kind of taste the rat poison that we made it with.
What's the second one
more
here?
bit.
So this is
from Popeyes. Popeyes.
everyone's favorite
New
chicken
Orleans.
place.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Yeah, big fan over here in New Orleans. Woo!
Take the way it's fried.
So let's go ahead and try
Try
this
that one.
delicious. Well, this one's kind of hard to actually get into. Wow, I can definitely taste cheese in this one, but it's awfully, coagulated or thick or
little bit of salt.
solid.
You may not know this. Anthony Bourdain, famed cooking writer, traveler, said that Popeye's mac and cheese was one of his guilty pleasures.
Wow.
Whenever he would come back to New York, he would stop at Popeye's and get an order of mac and cheese. And that reminded him that he was home. Little known fact.
There you go. Interesting. All right, so fan favorite Anthony Bourdain.
Definitely makes me understand why people love that chicken from Popeye's.
Right.
though.
Yeah.
Chicken!
Yeah. They do have great
Mac
crispy
and
chicken.
cheese, very cheesy. Very
Yeah,
cheesy.
very
I would
cheesy.
take the cheesy
Yeah.
from that. I
Yeah.
would take the cheesy from that. Again, the macaroni is very soft to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's our next one here?
Our next one is from Chick-fil-A.
Oh, love Chick-fil-A.
Mm.
Yep, no hamburgers there, right?
Nope.
All right, let's go ahead and try this one. The Chick-fil-A. Well, I can already tell just visibly how bigger the macaronis are, or the elbow pastas here.
Well, bigger's not better, but Christopher.
That's true.
Not bad.
Yeah, that one's actually not bad.
Not a bad one. These two have been the best so far. This one more
Yeah.
cheesy.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of like the texture of this one better.
Yep, me too. Me
Okay.
too. Yep, that one has a texture.
I can learn about the cheesiness from this one, and I can kind of learn about the texture from that one.
Perfect.
we go.
Excellent. And our last contestant here?
Our last one is from the home of the pub sub, Publix.
Publix.
For those of you that don't live in Florida, it's a grocery store chain.
Let's go ahead and dig into the Publix mac and cheese and see how well they hit or miss the mark. Wow. I can taste a little smoky flavor with this
Kind
one.
of smoky. Tastes like Lakeland.
Tastes like Lakeland. That's the headquarters of Publix. Wonderful. Yeah.
That would be a good catch line. I should
Yeah.
work in marketing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
This whole
You
lunch
should let-
thing doesn't work out.
You should let Publix know.
Call me Dr. Messiah.
Yeah, I like the texture of that one, and they look like they use seashell pastas,
A little different, little
right, instead of
twist
the
on it.
elbow. But
Again,
definitely has a smoky
way to kind of make
flavor.
it their own.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
This one, that would kill the dog.
yeah.
We shall speak
Yeah.
of it no more. Goodbye.
And I think you have a really good point here. So you've got the cheesy aspect from the Popeyes, you've got the texture aspect and the pasta aspect from the Chick-fil-A, and even Publix has its own unique kind of smoky-ish flavor twist on the mac and cheese.
They really did a good job taking it and making it their own.
Yeah,
Which is what
absolutely.
we're kind of talking about.
Excellent.
Very good.
So now let's transition to a homemade mac and cheese so that way you can better understand how to use the SWOT analysis tool, not just copy and pasting from MarketLine, but how to make it your own. You're also going to learn a wonderful cooking video on how to make your very own mac and cheese.
Spark! The first step in making mac and cheese is to make what's called a roux. R-O-U-X. Roux. Roux, as I said, is a combination of melted butter, and to that we're going to add a bit of flour. And we stir. You want to make sure that you mix it up good and that you keep moving it, because a roux will burn really fast. And you don't want your roux to get too brown in this. Now, if you were making a brown sauce, you would let it brown a little bit and then add rich, hearty beef stock. But as I said, for this we're making what's called a bechamel, which is a lighter roux that has milk. So once we get that cooked down and incorporated really nice, we're going to add about half a cup or so of finely diced onions and let that saute. You get a little bit more fire on that. Oh, if you could smell that. Christopher, smell this for me.
That's delicious.
Now we're going to add 2 cups of milk. Drink your milk, children. Now what's going to happen is that your roux thickens the liquid. We can do that before we add the cheese. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but when you first start, it's going to be really kind of liquidy like that. But what the roux is going to do is it's going to thicken it up. So we'll let that boil. And it's got to come to a boil in order for it to do that. Now, in just a little bit of time, it went from looking just like milk, getting nice and thick like that. See? That's really good. Okay, now we want to season this. So, we'll take half a teaspoon or so of garlic powder and some of my magic ingredient, half a teaspoon of Tony Chachere's. That's right, from Louisiana, where Popeyes is from. It wouldn't be mac and cheese without cheese. American cheese to make it creamy, and sharp cheddar to give it that cheesiness that I really liked from the Popeyes mac and cheese. We don't necessarily need the fire for that because it's so hot that it will melt the cheese sauce. And look at that. Oh. 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 I want to jump in it. And now the final thing is this. It's a little nutmeg. Nutmeg. For those of you that love football, nutmeg is not that. Nutmeg. It's like a nut that tastes like a meg. We'll put a little bit of that in there. While you try not to get your glove in it. All right. And that is how we make our cheese sauce. Now, next, we're going to boil some water, get the pasta ready, and then we'll be mixing these two things together. We've got our water boiling, and what we're going to do is cook our elbow macaroni for about 10 minutes, get it nice and al dente, because we're going to finish our mac and cheese in the oven. Boiling water, dump it in. Everybody can do that, right? Boiling water, dump it in. Boiling water, dump it in. We're going to let that boil for about 10 minutes, and then when we come back, we will add the cheese sauce and the macaroni to each other. We've allowed it to boil for about 10 minutes, and now what I'm going to do is strain it, and then we'll mix it up with that cheesy goodness, and that'll be our mac and cheese. Now that we've drained our macaroni, put it in the pan like that, and let's take this cheesy deliciousness. Oh, look at that. That's a whole year's worth of lactose intolerance right there. Mix that up. right. And once you have it mixed up, you bake it at 375 for about 20 minutes. I prefer to bake it covered for about 15 to 17, and then take that cover off and crank the heat up to about 425 and let it go uncovered. That way it makes a nice piece of cheese jerky on top of it. Cheese jerky! And that, folks, is how you make macaroni and cheese and make it your own.
Now that we're finished with the homemade mac and cheese, really the big takeaway from this lesson was to show you that when you run your SWOT analysis tool, don't just do a copy and paste job from MarketLine. You need to make your SWOT analysis your own. Just like Lunchroom Lonnie made his mac and cheese his own. And we hope that you take this lesson and you apply it to the other tools and the other research databases that you'll be exposed to throughout this semester. Lunchroom Lonnie, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Dr. Professor Leo. It was so much fun making a mess in the kitchen with you, too.
I would make a mess with you anytime in the kitchen.
This was for the children!
For the kiddos. So thanks, everyone, and take care. See you in class.